Hello everybody, today I'm going to give you 8 tips for free motion quilting and answer a viewer's question. Should be a lot of fun. A few days ago, I had a question from Marion who said, Lisa, can you do close-ups while stitching with free motion foot, please, or when quilting the edges of pieces? So I thought today I would bring you along as I'm quilting a couple of mug rugs that are going to be new in my Etsy shop, and I thought this was a great opportunity to give you some tips for free motion quilting. And Marion, I've brought you in as close as I possibly can without my fingers getting in the way. And I'm hoping that this gives you a really good close-up view of me stitching down the letters on these mug rugs. I've done raw edge applique with Heat and Bond Light on the back side of my letters. I used my brother's Scan and Cut to cut out each one of my letters, which makes it super fast and easy. And I've fused them to my mug rugs. And I'm just going to bring you along, stitch down the letters first, and then we'll do some background quilting. And we'll start with the tips for today. Tip number 1. I've always found that it is so much better if I match my top thread with my bobbin thread color. I find that if I have any little slightest tension issue, that it is hidden and camouflaged in my quilting because both of the threads, top and bottom, match perfectly. If you've ever used a different bobbin thread color, sometimes you might notice little pokes of color either on the top of your quilt project or on the bottom. Matching those thread colors really eliminates that and makes it look so much more cleaner and prettier. Tip number 2 is coordinate your thread color that matches your fabrics. Now, on purpose, I used a contrasting thread with the letters on my mug rug, so you could see when I was stitching close to the edges of the letters. But you'll see when I move to the background, that thread just blends in with the color of the background and hides so many little mistakes so you don't see them. So until you get really confident on using contrasting threads, blend those threads into the different fabrics that you are working with. Tip number 3, save all of your batting scraps and leftover pieces of fabric. Practice on those scraps. Make little quilt sandwiches that you can practice new quilting designs or just getting the hang of free motion quilting on those scraps. And then when you're ready, move up to smaller projects like table runners and mug rugs. These make perfect projects that you can accomplish in a shorter amount of time, but are easy to move around, and you get lots of practice stitching down letters or applique and doing some background quilting in your project. Tip number 4, have as much flat table space around your sewing machine that you can possibly have. What this does is it gives your quilt a place to rest and takes away a lot of the tension around the area that you're actually quilting and working on. Now for these smaller projects, that's not quite so hard to quilt these with a smaller space, but make sure you have a good amount of flat space to the left and behind your machine to rest larger quilt projects on. I think you'll find it much easier if you have that space to rest your quilt. Tip number 5 is start with simple quilting designs. I think one of the most simple quilting designs that I use is a meandering stitch. You can do those really small, you can do them a medium size, and you can do them really large. And practice those and then move up once you get comfortable with one and try out different ones. And the more you practice, the more different quilting designs you will develop and are more comfortable with when moving over to your quilts when you want to use multiple different types of background quilting in those quilts. Tip number 6 is plan your quilting before you even start. Make a plan of approach, and I find it much better than just winging it, especially when you're first starting out. You can also use different marking devices like heat erasing pens and water-soluble markers to map out your quilting before you begin. Also, what's really helpful is there are so many different kinds of gadgets and tools and stencils and even things around your house in your sewing room that you can trace to make a design that's custom to your quilt. You can even hand draw your own little quilting designs as well. Tip number 7, use lots and lots and lots of texture in your quilting. You'll see this mug rug here. I am using lots and lots of swirly quilting, and it's all blending in, and you cannot see my mistakes when you do lots of different textures in your quilting, which is perfect if you're just starting out. And tip number 8, my last tip for this video, is practice, 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 relax, and have fun. If you're not enjoying yourself, stop, turn off the machine, and walk away and come back later. Maybe putting on some music will help you relax and get into the groove of the different quilting designs you've tried. Keep in mind, it takes practice. None of us are born knowing how to do this. Just like when we learned how to write our name, we had to practice. It took a long time for us to be able to write our name nice and pretty, and so does this. So be patient with yourself and just have fun. Now, I hope these 8 tips have been helpful for you. Marion, I hope that it was helpful seeing a close-up view of the quilting. I know we fast-forwarded the video, so it went by pretty quick, but I thought I'd bring you along as I stitch these mug rugs. Y'all have fun. Make some small projects. Give yourself a break. It's okay to mess up, and it's just fabric, it's just thread, and you're basically just drawing with your sewing machine. So get creative with it. As always, I just want to thank you for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreons. Thank y'all so much. Until I see you next time, have fun creating, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.